Futures and options on futures trading involve substantial risk and is not a suitable investment for all types of investors. Past results are not necessarily indicative of future results. When I use the word I in this video, it refers to what I teach in my charting course or what I offer in my twice daily oral and written updates. Prices shown on charts and quote boards are in real time and take into account all known activity up to this point in time. And if you'd like to read more of this disclaimer, simply hit the pause key on your video player. Good afternoon. Ira Epstein of Linn & Associates with your financial market wrap-up, and this is for Monday, the 3rd of April, 2017, just after 5 p.m. Central Daylight Time. So I've waited for the markets to reopen, and as you can see, you're pretty steady in the NASDAQ, down a little bit in the S&P and the Dow, gold up a little bit along with most of the metal markets. We haven't yet seen where the dollar's going to open. It takes a bit longer for that one to get going. But in most of the foreign currencies, a small bounce. So the question is, with what is going on now in Congress, where does it carry the market? Because part of what's been going on is disappointment that the Trump trade, every part of it's getting stalled. We're going to see this week a huge fight in Congress about Neil Gorsuch. Now that he's passed the Judicial Committee, the vote will be taken. Is the nuclear option going to have to take place where the Republicans put in the 52 votes and the filibuster and everything else going forward? That'd be a shame. But it appears that the Democrats are determined to do one thing: undermine Mr. Trump regardless of the good or bad of a program. In other words, we have to assume even good programs will be stymied by them. And what this is an attempt to do is shut down Congress. Get scared, because at the end of the month, we have to do what? We have to fund our government. Where's that money going to come from if people can't even walk in the halls and say hello to each other? This is getting to be very serious. We know that we have the Chinese president coming in this week. There'll be a lot of talk on trade. But frankly, the president's hands are this. They're tied. He can talk the big talk, but if he can't get Congress to go along with him, all he can do are presidential orders, and there's a limitation to the impact of those. In the Dow, the one thing you should notice is volatility's out of the market. They tried to break the market today, had a terrible time with it. On the weekly charts, we have an inside week from last week so far. When we take a look at where the market's at right now, you can see it's gone basically on an up thrust from 20,497 to 20,659, slid back a little bit. That's all you could say there. Here's the big attempt today to break the market down, and by day's end, it closed just slightly lower. It just reopened. It's down a bit from there as well. When you put on the brown line, the swing line, here's what you have: a higher high, a lower low, which means there's no trend at work in the market. And I think that's probably a good analysis. There's just no trend at work. The bias is down because the market's unable to get back over the 18-day average of closes. And support comes in on the breaks against the lower Bollinger Band, the black dashed line, which you can see it attempted it again today and got thwarted with that, thrown right back to the upside. Momentum in the market, if you believe as I do that often momentum leads price, it's flat. It's going nowhere right now. S&P, flat momentum. The market rallied from this deep break back to the 18-day average, tried 3 days in a row, that day, the next day, and the next day, to get up and over it. Can't do it at this point. Just sort of stuck right here, unable to get much going. The opposite is true of the NASDAQ in the sense that it's had upside momentum and it's overbought. It's having trouble at the upper Bollinger Band as it did before. Yes, it pushed the band out a little bit here, but we're seeing that resistance still come in. And this is and has been the best performer of the quarter, of the month. We just saw a phenomenal performance out of the NASDAQ and tech stocks even in the 11 categories of the S&P. Best performing area. Now suddenly the Russell's coming back into its own. Let me explain that. You've got a pattern of higher lows and higher highs, unlike the other indices. That's bullish. Prices are over the 18-day average. That's friendly at least. Momentum, yes, down a bit here, correcting, but not going sideways. That's the difference that I'm seeing. Here's another failure day. Coming into today, this is what our VIX looked like. It had gotten up to the resistance of the 100-day average and the 18. If it's going to rally further, I'd look for a challenge of the upper Bollinger Band. It goes up, challenges it, and falls right back towards the 100-day average. So this one day that they tried to expand the band out, and it did do it. If you take a look at the math, not by a lot, but it's done it, so you've widened it a bit, and that's all that you can say. What's the trend? It's up because prices have a pattern of higher lows and higher highs. It also hit its upside target. 30-year bonds. Why are they rallying if the Fed keeps telling us that they're going to be 2, maybe 3 hikes this year? I'll give you the secret. Nobody's believing what the Fed's saying, in part because at the earliest it'll be June, but more important, President Trump's hands are tied right now. He doesn't want them tied. We don't want them tied as an economy, but they are tied. So the market went down. To give you an example, Friday you were up to 2.39 and a fraction percent on the 10-year note. You went to 2.33 and a fraction today. So you're getting swings all over the points here, and you can see that's the rally. In addition, you might get the 18-day average to cross over the 100. That will surprise the heck out of traders with a bullish crossover, which you are getting and have already gotten in the 10-year. And it's embedding. So the market is saying, you know something? This is getting so serious in Congress that they're backing away from bidding up for U.S. debt, and instead yields are falling in this market. Very important observation to make. What's the reason for it? Again, President Trump can't get even the simplest of things done with Congress. In looking at the dollar index, it's climbed up, and I have to wonder why it's climbing so much. And I think part of it is the rhetoric, of course, with us in North Korea. Part of it might be the fact that China's president's coming into town. Nobody knows how that meeting is going to go this weekend. We'll see what that's doing. Part of it might be all the economic data, including jobs data, coming out this week. And if I'm right, we're going to get the FOMC notes this week from the March meeting as well. I'd want to check that, but I think that's happening too. So it's back up. It's out of its downtrend, but it's not in an uptrend either. And it has some upside bias. Let me get to the euro currency. Euro's the flip-flop. Market did get under the 100-day average. It's oversold. If it fell to the lower Bollinger Band, I'd look for a lot of support there. So this whole rally that you had from the beginning of March, literally through the end of it, collapsed in the last week, but not back under the lows. Support area right here. British pound, all of a sudden the swing line has turned bearish. You've got lower highs, lower lows. Fighting it is the fact that the market is over not only the 18-day average of closes, and that's really the key to me, but it's also over the 100, offering a little bit more support. Momentum, overbought, starting to turn down. We'll see if the market does anything from here. Japanese yen, overbought, in a broad uptrend. The market had a bullish crossover where the 18-day average got over the 100, and it never did go up and make a new high. It would not surprise me if the market does that. Part of the fear here, of course, that it hasn't made that high is what happens if the U.S. and China do go into a trade war. What happens with this currency if North Korea and the U.S. don't go crazy? Read a report today of one of the major defectors that left North Korea. It was on a Dow Jones Newswires or FT Times, Financial Times. I don't know which one. And it said that a major defector has come in, and on the interview he said, yes, the leader of North Korea would think nothing of using nuclear weapons against us. He's prepared to do it. So gives you an idea of the craziness going on, and what does that currency do with all that? Then we get to the crude oil, and as you can see, the markets come up. Now, an interesting story in crude. While they're not producing as much, the Saudis, they have cut their production, as stated, a large amount. I just read a report that said the exports haven't fallen. So they're sending out of storage their same amount of oil. That's fascinating to me. I never thought about it. One hand you're cutting production, but the other you're still doing your exports of the same amount. Wow. In any case, the market hit the upper Bollinger Band, correcting overbought. in the rebob gasoline, got up to the upper Bollinger Band. You might make it to the 100-day on this, but it's not atypical for the market to get this first surge, pull back down maybe, respect this area as a major bottom, and we'll see what happens then at the 18-day average. I'm not saying that has to happen, but you are overbought and you've hit upside targets in the market. A market that surprised me today, and I don't think it's going down far, was nat gas fell back with the mild weather. Now, the question is, what's the right time frame to get into nat gas for the summer demand period? And obviously it's too soon right now, and that's what the market told us with the lower highs, lower lows. Market is respecting the 100-day average, but lost its embedded reading, pointing down, could be headed towards that 318 area here, so I'd be a bit cautious. I have May natural gas here. That's a mistake, folks. I'm just watching it. The symbol I got up here is June, so that's a typo on my error. I'm looking at this, say, how could that be? And I know what the May trades were today. This is June natural gas. I will get that fixed. I don't know how that error. I think I do know. One of the months expired, and when I typed it in, I didn't put it on. They automatically shift on my charting software. All right, so you put that all together, we know what we've got. You can see how the metal markets are doing on early trade tonight, and I'm going to talk about this all tonight and tomorrow morning and day after day. I'd like to give you, if you haven't seen it, because so many of you are hooked on these videos, and I do appreciate that. But if you'd like to see my research, now my research is paid for. I'm willing to give you a full 30-day, well, let's make it a 20-day trial. That's what I got up there, which is 1 month, as you can imagine, a business month of access to my videos. If you want the written recommendations, my oral updates, it'll include everything we have to offer for this. It's a $60 value. It's yours free if you'd like to try it out, assuming you haven't tried it before. And I keep very good records as to who's tried it. Our research base continues to grow. I do these videos, by the way, that you're looking at now to give you a taste of what we offer. And no, I don't walk on water. You're going to see plenty of wrong trades with it. You're going to see some right trades. But it costs you nothing to get an idea. And I start you off every morning with that all-important video where I review 40 charts and give you specific buy here, sell there ideas that I cannot do on these public YouTube videos. The government won't allow that, so I don't do that. How do you get this? 866-973-2077. You can go to our website at www.iraepstein.com. You can try it there as well. And or you can click right up here if you're watching me on YouTube. Click away on that. From there, what will happen is you'll be able to see the form will come up. Just fill it out. We'll get everything to you. I'm Ira. You have a good day, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.